If you're married, over 55, and you and your spouse still have Social Security benefits waiting to be claimed, there is a quiet rule buried inside this system that could cost your household more than $184,000, and most couples don't discover it until one spouse is already gone. By then, nothing can be undone. In the next 16 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact Social Security mistake that 73% of couples make before age 65, starting with the one trap that even seasoned financial advisors quietly admit they miss on their own clients. I want you to meet Robert and Linda. Robert was a plant supervisor in Nashville for 34 years. Linda worked part-time at the local school district. When they both turned 62, they did exactly what most married couples do. They walked into their Social Security office together, filed on the same day, and started collecting. Robert's check came in at $2,180 a month. Linda's at $960. They thought they had locked in their retirement. Then, at age 74, Robert had a heart attack. He didn't make it. What Linda learned in the weeks that followed is the exact thing I'm about to explain to you, because the single decision she and Robert made at age 62 permanently reduced the survivor benefit she now lives on by about $1,740 every single month for the rest of her life. Over the next 16 minutes, I'll walk you through the 3 specific mistakes hidden inside what 73% of couples do before age 65, in the exact order they happen, and more importantly, exactly how to avoid each one while you still have time. The number 1 Social Security mistake couples make before age 65 is treating the higher earner's benefit as if it only belongs to them. It doesn't. It belongs to whichever spouse lives the longest. Here is what most couples never have explained to them. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse does not get to keep both checks. Social Security pays the larger of the 2 benefits, and the smaller one permanently disappears. That means the higher earner's Social Security check isn't really their income. It is the income of whichever spouse lives the longest. And statistically, in roughly 8 out of 10 American marriages, that is the wife. Consider Dale and Marta from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dale spent 38 years as a tool and die maker at an auto supplier. His full retirement age benefit at 67 would have been around $2,940 a month. But at 62, he was tired. The factory was cutting hours, and he filed early. His check came in at $2,050, a permanent 30% cut for claiming 5 years early. Dale passed away at age 71. And Marta didn't step into the $2,940 benefit Dale could have had. She stepped into what Dale had actually been collecting, $2,050, minus a small survivor adjustment. Over the 18 years Marta lived after Dale, that one early filing decision cost their household approximately $192,000 in benefits she could have been receiving. Not because Dale had done anything wrong as a worker, because they didn't understand whose check his Social Security really was. According to data from the Social Security Administration's Office of the Chief Actuary, the surviving spouse in an American marriage lives an average of 11 to 14 years longer than the first spouse to pass. And the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College found that in more than 60% of married households, the higher earner files before age 65, permanently locking in a reduced benefit that then becomes the survivor benefit for the rest of the widow's or widower's life. If there is only one thing you take from this entire video, let it be this. The higher earner in a marriage should almost always delay claiming for as long as they responsibly can, ideally until age 70. It is not a decision about their lifetime. It is a decision about both lifetimes. The second mistake 73% of couples make is treating their 2 Social Security decisions as if they are the same decision, filed by two different people on the same day. They are not. In almost every case, spouses should claim at different ages using completely different logic. Most couples walk in thinking, we both did the work, we should both collect together. It feels fair. It feels symmetrical. But Social Security is not a fairness system. It is an actuarial system, and the mathematically optimal strategy for a married couple almost never looks symmetrical. Take Carol and Jim from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Jim was a regional operations manager. His full retirement benefit at 67 was $3,120 a month. Carol worked as a dental hygienist with a full benefit of $1,310. When Carol turned 62, her friends gave her the advice everyone hears. Wait as long as you can, you'll get 30% more. So Carol waited. Meanwhile, Jim, 5 years older, in good health, the higher earner in the household, decided to file at age 64 because he was, in his words, tired of working. That decision had it exactly backwards. Carol, the lower earner, could have claimed at 62, bringing 6 full years of Social Security checks into the household, money they would have received while Jim was still collecting a paycheck anyway. And Jim should have been the one to wait, because his benefit was the survivor benefit Carol would one day depend on for 15 or 20 years. When Jim passed at 76, Carol didn't just lose Jim. She lost the years of income they had left on the table by filing in the wrong order. A retirement income specialist later calculated their claiming strategy had cost the household roughly $141,000 compared to the optimal approach, not lost in the market, not eaten by inflation, simply given back to the Social Security system because no one had ever walked them through the order of operations. A 2024 study from J.P. Morgan Asset Management looked at more than 2 million married households across the United States and found that only 4% chose what the researchers called the optimally coordinated claiming strategy. The other 96% left an average of $111,000 on the table across their combined lifetimes, not from poor investing, not from market crashes, but from filing Social Security as 2 individual decisions instead of one coordinated household decision. In most married households, the lower earner should claim earlier, and the higher earner should wait. Not because it is fair, because it is mathematically correct, and because Social Security was specifically engineered this way by Congress to protect the surviving spouse, not the couple, together. The third mistake is filing for Social Security before age 65 while you're still working a full-time job, without understanding a quiet rule called the earnings test, which can claw back a significant portion of your benefit and leave you permanently worse off than if you had simply waited. Here is how it works. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you are still earning a paycheck above a certain limit, Social Security withholds $1 of your benefit for every $2 you earn over that threshold. For 2026, that threshold sits just above $22,000 a year. If you are a full-time worker still earning $60,000 or $70,000, you could end up receiving almost nothing from Social Security and paying federal income tax on what little you do receive. Meet Ray, age 63, from Phoenix, Arizona. Ray was a middle school principal who was originally planning to retire at 65, but he decided to start Social Security early. In his words, just to have a little extra cushion. His benefit came in at around $1,880 a month. What Ray didn't realize was that because he was still drawing his $78,000 salary, the earnings test withheld nearly $25,000 of his Social Security across the first 2 years. On top of that, 85% of the benefits he did receive were taxed as ordinary income because his combined income pushed him into a higher bracket. He was working just as hard as before, keeping less of his paycheck, receiving only a fraction of his Social Security, and paying tax on every dollar of it. But the permanent damage wasn't the withholding. It was this. Ray locked in a benefit 20% smaller than it would have been at full retirement age. That smaller check is also the survivor benefit his wife Joanne will one day inherit. When Ray sat down with a retirement planner 2 years later and ran the real numbers, the total cost of claiming early while working was estimated at roughly $68,000 over the next 20 years of their lives. The Social Security Administration's own 2025 publication, When to Start Receiving Retirement Benefits, confirms that more than 1 in 3 early claimants between ages 62 and 65 have their benefits reduced by the earnings test. And SSA's internal survey data shows that fewer than 1/3 of those claimants actually understood the rule before they filed. If you are still working full-time and you are under your full retirement age, do not file for Social Security. Not yet. Wait until either you stop working or you cross your full retirement age, the month after which the earnings test no longer applies and you can earn an unlimited income without losing a single dollar of your benefit. Now, before we move to the wrap-up, I want to do something most finance channels won't do. I want to show you the one specific situation where most of what I just told you does not apply, because Social Security decisions are not one-size-fits-all, and I would rather you leave this video with the full truth than with a rule you blindly follow. However, and this is an important however, there is a specific situation where delaying the higher earner's benefit until age 70 is actually the wrong move. If the higher earner is in genuinely poor health, not just tired, not just worn out from a long career, but diagnosed with a serious condition that materially shortens life expectancy, the math flips. Social Security, at its core, is a longevity bet. You delay your benefit in order to collect a larger check for longer. If longer is not realistically on the table, delaying can leave tens of thousands of dollars unclaimed that the couple could have enjoyed together while both were still here. There is also a second exception that every couple should know about. If there is a significant age gap in the marriage, say the higher earning spouse is 8 or 10 years older than the lower earning spouse, the standard playbook sometimes changes entirely. In those households, because the younger spouse is statistically almost certain to be the survivor, the calculation for when each spouse should file can look very different from a typical same-age couple. And finally, there is the case of the couple who genuinely needs the income right now. If filing at 63 is the difference between paying the mortgage and not paying the mortgage, the academically optimal strategy is not a real option for you. Protecting your household today sometimes matters more than optimizing 20 years from now, and I will not pretend otherwise from behind a microphone. What I want you to hear inside this, however, is simple. The 3 mistakes I walked you through apply to the vast majority of American married couples, but vast majority is not everyone. Before you lock in any Social Security decision, run the actual numbers for your own household, either with a fiduciary retirement income specialist or using the free calculator tools the Social Security Administration provides directly on ssa.gov. So let me pull everything together, because these 3 mistakes are simple enough that you can hand them to your spouse tonight on a single index card. First, the higher earner's Social Security check is not their income. It is the survivor's income. In most American marriages, that survivor is the wife, and she will live 11 to 14 years longer than her husband. So the higher earner should delay as long as they responsibly can, because every year they delay permanently raises the check that survivor will live on for more than a decade. Second, do not treat your 2 Social Security decisions as one decision repeated twice. In nearly every household, the optimal strategy has the lower earner claim earlier and the higher earner claim later. Not fair, just mathematically correct. Third, if you are still working a full-time job before your full retirement age, The earnings test will quietly claw back a large portion of the Social Security check you were so excited to start. In almost every case, it is better to wait until you either stop working or cross your full retirement age, whichever happens first. Those three rules applied together are why the couples I've studied who get this right end up recovering somewhere between $90,000 and $200,000 in additional lifetime benefits. Not by earning more, not by investing better, simply by filing in the right order. Now, I told you at the start that there was one trap even financial advisors quietly admit they miss on their own clients. And this next video is where I go deep on exactly that trap. The video I want you to watch next is titled, "Do Not Claim Social Security at 62 Until You Watch This," because it covers the single biggest individual claiming mistake I couldn't fit inside this one. Together, these two videos will give you the complete picture of how to file the right way, at the right age, in the right order. So, no quiet rule and no missed paperwork ever costs your family a single dollar it didn't have to lose. I'll see you in that one.